Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Ultimate Live. My name is Yogesh Kapoor. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a communications coach. And today I have with me my guest, Christina Will Spears. Welcome, Christina. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. It's an exciting month.
Can you imagine? We are already in 2024, how 2023 just flew by?
It truly did. It really did. I feel like it was just yesterday that we were talking about how powerful 23 was going to be.
And now we're in 2024, which mentioning powerful, 2024 adds up to a number eight, which also represents the planet Saturn. So this year is going to be very, very interesting, especially month of January, because I think we were just talking about this earlier. Every day represents the number. So if it was January 1st, you add it up, adds up to a 10, it was a 1. If it was January 2nd, adds up to 11, becomes a 2. So today, for you being January 7th, it adds up to a 7. So it's a very, very powerful month for setting those intentions and those goals. And I'm looking forward to, I mean, I'm already in January 8th here in Asia, but that's already a powerful thing because the year is 8, and then we have January 11, which is going to also be very powerful. So, how did you spend your New Year's?
I spent my New Year's actually really, it was a really quiet New Year's. Probably most quiet New Year's I have had since I was a child. But that was okay. It was actually really nice. It was very peaceful, and I spent it just with my youngest daughter and my husband, and we watched the whole holidays. We ended up taking time to spend time with each other, having some nice food, and just really having some quality time with one another, which is a blessing. That alone is like the biggest gift.
It
And
is.
I really enjoyed it. I really did.
I mean, holidays is always family. And,
Mhm.
sometimes we think we need to go celebrate outside, go to a party, but even just being together, I think that's the most important thing. I mean, because I live here in China, and my family lives in Indonesia. So for me, it was nice too. I mean, I got to go see my wife and son and spend time with them. And I spent a lot of time with them before I came back here to China. So, number 8 represents the year of abundance. So since we spend time with our family, I guess uh, this year will be more abundant in that with family time. And we have our Grace, so amazing here. We were waiting for her. Now she's here. Grace, Happy New Year. So nice to have you back on the
Happy
live.
New Year! Yes, nice to be
Welcome.
back.
We were just discussing about how we spent our New Year's. How did you spend your New Year's?
Okay, on the very first day, January, I was home all through. You know how that day is usually a day where you reflect and then you don't want to be up and about. You just want to be in your space, with family, with the family around, and then you're cooking, you're eating, you're reflecting, and all. So for me, it was a moment of time with family, and it was also a time to reflect. So I slept, I slept very well on that day. Had a good
Mhm.
sleep, and then it was generally quiet for me on the very first day. But on the second day, it was fun. We went out with my family. I went out with my family. We did a family picnic, and we danced. We ushered ourselves into the new year. It was amazing. I enjoyed that day when we went out. It was amazing. And there's always that energy when you're with family. My siblings came from far and wide, and we only see about this time once in a year. So it was a moment to connect and be merry. Yes.
That's so wonderful. I love hearing about your family and your stories, Grace. That's wonderful. Yeah. This was the
And
first year. Oh, what
yeah,
were you gonna say?
just what we were talking about family as well, how we spend time with family, and this year being the number 8, the year of abundance and infinite abundance, because that's
Woohoo!
the sign, right? The
Yeah.
energy keep flowing. So um, I guess one thing good is we all spend time with family. So we're gonna have infinite time with our family. We're going to have a lot of abundance with our family this year. And so now that we've spoken about how we spend our New Year's, for our audience today, our topic is about abundance. Not exactly abundance, but if you want abundance in 2024, you got to first get rid of your manifesting blockages. Because till you don't clear those blockages, you don't really manifest anything. So let me start with you, Christina. Um, Tell us a few abundance blockages that people might have.
Well, first of all, it's you have to feel like you deserve it or believe that it's something that you can obtain. That you have to be able to see you enjoying yourself doing or um, being a part of whatever you're going to receive. So if for example, when we order something at a restaurant, we already can see ourselves enjoying whatever we've ordered, because otherwise we wouldn't order that. If we order a salad or something, we're like thinking, oh, this is going to be delicious, it's going to be fulfilling, it's going to, otherwise we wouldn't, if it didn't appeal to us in some way, we wouldn't order it. So it has to be something that's we really are feeling it appeals to us, but not only that, that we feel that we are worthy of. A lot of times we will put something out there and not feel that we are worthy of. And then it's like, well, why haven't we ever received, if we say, okay, I this year I'm going to earn $1 million, but if we don't feel like we're worthy of $1 million, that's never going to come. So that's one big one.
That's so
Um,
true. I've had times where I remember when I first started my speaking journey, and when I used to compete in the contests, um, I used to feel like, you mean, can I be world champion? Am I worth it? And as I kept going on, and when I started feeling that yes, I can be world champion, if so and so can, I mean, I'm sure I can easily become world champion. So that's when I saw that the contest and everything started manifesting, and I started moving up the ladder even more and more. Not that I don't focus on it anymore as much, but I agree with that on the feeling part of it. So thank you for mentioning that. And those who are watching, you gotta take notes on this. You will retain 80% of what you write down. So make sure you take a note on this. That do you feel deserved in what you want to manifest? Yeah, you're gonna say something, Christina.
that's a good point, actually, because um, the best things that I've ever received, or information, were the were the ones that I took notes on.
Mm.
I can't tell you how many podcasts or things that I've watched of yours and Grace's that I have taken notes on and just absorbed that information, because you guys, there's so many valuable things that you guys say on a regular day basis, just even meetings we have, and I put notes in, and then it just absorbs in more. So I have notes all over the place, but it really does, it helps a lot. um but yeah, and there's so many things, and then going back to feeling if we deserve something, there's so many subtopics to that we heal. So
Got it. Got it. Coming to you, Grace. You are a amazing manifester. So tell us something about abundance blocks that maybe you had before, and once you release them, you started manifesting.
Okay, so good thing that this year is a year of abundance, and so interesting. I think it was 2 days ago I wrote something on my wall, and I said that the world in itself, the earth, the universe, the metaverse, whatever we want to call it, right, is is filled with abundance. That whatever we see in terms of scarcity is man-made. And as a scientist, I always like to have I always prove it. I'll answer your question, but I'm coming from this point of view. And the reason why I'm coming from this angle is because I'm very happy that I'm seeing the light. There are things that I would be bothered with. Now, worry is a block. Worry is something that comes to give us that anxiety, and it will make us lose our faith to manifest. So worry and anxiety is one block that I have come to realize, because of we are afraid of our antecedents, things that we have, passed through, or things that we've had to struggle with. We will become worried in cases where we want to manifest certain things, and because of that doubt, because of that worry, it may not happen. But in recent times, I've started seeing. So it's also important to open your minds, open your minds, and see things, from nature. I mean, you guys, have you traveled, like you're traveling and you're on a road trip, and you're on a very long road, and on the left you're seeing trees, and on the right you're seeing trees. I don't know, but that feeling gives me some form of look how green. Look at the trees. Look at the birds. It gives me this level. And I didn't used to feel that way, before, when we were young, when I was younger, and we were traveling maybe to my village, and we were on road trips. You're just traveling, and you're just admiring, the trees and the mountains and the rocks, and we were just admiring it. But now, because of the information that I have gotten, and the fact that I'm opening my mind to abundance, I'm beginning to see that some of the things that we should appreciate, that can help us see beyond our nostrils, we're not seeing these things, and we're looking for. There are places where people are hungry. I mean, all it takes is to take one seed and put it to the ground, man, and you have a lot coming out. And I'm like, why should I even be poor? Because everything I need is at my doorstep. All I need to do is open my eyes to it and ask and receive. So I think worry and anxiety is a major block. You're worried and you're thinking that, oh, how am I going to, if we can allow, I think the major word here is to allow, and then remind ourselves that look at nature, look at birds, multiple birds in the skies. They never, what's the word? No accidents, right there in the sky. See how many they are. They have the sky all to themselves, Oh, I can go on and on, but really, I think I should
But
stop
that is
here.
such a beautiful point, Grace. That is such a beautiful point, especially the example of the trees, right? Like when you're going, you're admiring the trees, you're like, oh my God, look at all the beauty, right? We're so abundant. And yet we bring in the worry, and we're worried about petty stuff. Like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Will this happen? But when we just open those eyes of ours and our senses, right? And we realize we're so abundant. Like it reminded me of lunch today. I took three ladies for lunch today. One just came out of town. One was, and then, at lunch, I was like thinking, the smallest thing you can do is just be thankful that you have food to eat, you know, because there's so
Absolutely.
many people out there who are hungry. And I was like feeling frustrated that, oh my God, I have so much work and I have to give time here. And, then I realized, wait a minute, but you have work, right? There's so many people who don't have work, So, I mean, I'm still in the office. It's like midnight over here. I'm still in the office and I'm like, I'm so glad I have work. I mean, imagine people don't have work. So I so agree with you when you realize that you're so abundant and you just allow things to happen, right? You start receiving and things start moving. That's such a great example. Christina, I'm sure you had like a moment there as well.
Well, yeah, it opens up new ideas. It opens up new strains. And one of the best ways to manifest is when you are not only assisting yourself, but it's also assisting other people. It's when you're manifesting and it assists it's assisting the whole, or it's assisting other people in a beautiful way, then it starts to work like Mother Nature. It starts to have its own root system, its own, movement of its own. And that becomes a beautiful vibrational blessing. It moves on its own with this beautiful grace. I love your word, grace.
By the way, on the 1st of January, I sold something, right? I I got a call, and it was an order. I have my stuff that I sell, and then I'm like, oh universe, I love the sound of alerts in my phone. I hope we keep selling all through the year. So I was so happy because usually, holidays like that, people don't really buy stuff, like especially what I sell. But when I was getting into the year, I told myself that I'm not on holiday when it comes to receiving money, man. I'm not on holiday. And it happened.
You
Yeah.
brought up
Yeah.
something so important because I remember New Year's Eve. I usually am a person who goes with the flow. I don't make plans. And my wife is the opposite. She loves plans, right? So I was like, should we go for a buffet dinner? So I called up Ritz Carlton and they're like, we're fully booked. I called up Westin, we're fully booked. And then I was like, let's just go to this Indian restaurant, right? I mean, they still have space and it's a buffet and all of that. And we end up going there. And I remember my wife telling me she wants to go to Bali, right, in Christmas. But I said, no, it's too tight, for me to fly in and prices are all up and blah, 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 blah. And then when we were leaving after the countdown, the MC is like, he's like, wait, I have to give you to something. He took our names and he's like, you guys were the best couple on the dance floor. And here's 2 night stays to Bali. And I was like, what? I was like, oh my God, and I
Oh,
was like,
I'm so happy for you.
and I was
Wow.
telling my wife, I'm like, every time you think of something, right? And it's just like she doesn't have doubts about things, right? I'm the one who has the doubts and all that. But then it just flew in, and I was like, what? I mean, what a way to start 2024, right? Like
Oh, I
being given
love
2 nights stay.
it.
Wonderful. You guys
Yeah,
deserve that. I'm
I was
so
like, what a perfect
happy
gift.
for you. Oh, I'm so
So
happy for you
bringing in
too.
what you were saying, Grace, it's exactly like that, and what you were saying, Christina, right? Just nature just works its own wonders.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, and being on that vibration to receive is so important, and letting it go with the flow is also really important. And just letting yourself just connect and receive, because just like you were saying, um, both of you were saying, being in that worry state is such a big block, because then it just puts you, I mean, if you had worried too much, you guys wouldn't have gone up and danced at all. And then you would have never even been there to receive, or you wouldn't even gone to the restaurant. So I'm
And you One interesting thing that I realized, for me personally, something that I struggled with for a long time because of my upbringing. We grew up in a place where, apart from contentment, where our dad taught us how to be, okay with everything we had per time, it was also something that I struggled with in asking. So now asking is different from, what's the word, like what your wife did. She asked, she said she would want to go, even though she wasn't sure. She did the first principle of nature, the first principle, first law, the law of asking. And I'm reading books and I'm seeing that, look, we are we are depriving ourselves of certain things because we don't even know how powerful we are when it comes to opening our mouth to ask. Like, I found it really hard, growing up. And thank goodness that I am, this journey, just like we did not learn all those things in one day. We get to unlearn gradually, and being in the right community, which is something that I am very sure I would continue to do for a very long time. Being in a community of people that will constantly remind me, like what we do with our community, and what we do with coaching, and what we do with the constant reminders. If not for anything, the fact that, all three of us, we've been on this journey of being a coach, getting better. Sometimes we might sway, sometimes we might say, okay, I'm not seeing what I need right now, but let me do this, which is absolutely fine looking at it. Because sometimes, if your passion is not, giving you what you need per time, and you're able to do something else to be able to get what you need to fuel your passion, it's beautiful. So what am I saying in essence? I really found it hard, when I was growing up, asking, even as little as help, someone helping me to do something. I'm like, I've got my own hands, I've got my own legs, I've got my this, I've got my that. I don't need this person to ask, to help me, sometimes. And I didn't know I was putting off the vibration of, I've got it all figured out, don't help me. I've got it all figured out, don't help me, don't help me. So it started affecting my relationships, where I'm beginning to see that, look, should I ask this person to do certain things for me? This person should do these things for me. I didn't know. And that is why, in the spiritual realm, when we talk about vibrational energy, sometimes it is what we are putting off that is making certain things hold on to. So I had to unlearn this. Okay, I'm going to ask. I need help here. I need help here. Right? It was a big struggle for me. So that's another thing that I need to put out there. We should ask. Now, there's a deep, I think it was all about begging. I mixed it up in my
Mhm.
head. I don't want to be seen as I'm begging you for stuff, but there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference. And this is as a result of me learning new things and beginning to open my mind. It's okay if you need something, you put it out there. Even if the person you're asking is not going to give it, but the universe has heard it, and for what it is worth, the universe would do everything possible to make sure that that thing that you really ask, if you intentionally really need that thing from the inside of your heart, it will come to play. And I'm telling you, I'm happy that I'm beginning to see some of the things that I've allowed, that I've been able to ask, generously from my heart, that it's okay. I need help in this area. They started coming to me, and it's such a wonderful thing to watch, because again, my science mind would always need something to prove. And then I see it here that, yeah, hey Grace, that's your proof. Hey Grace, that's your proof. Hey Grace, that's your proof. So it's so easy for me to ask right now. It's so easy because all the things that all the bodies, would I say religious bodies, or anything that's got to do with um of spirituality, they've all agreed that it is in asking that you receive. If it is in asking that you receive. So I think another thing that we should put out there is the ability to be able to ask and be expectant.
I, I definitely agree with that because I I also grew up in an environment where I felt like I was begging if I asked. So that is something that I have really worked through because I would feel for most of my life and just until recently it's like okay it's okay to ask other people to assist me, both human people, and to also ask my guides or my team of light. And there's times when I forget because our brain becomes habitual, and so I'll get into a habit of going back slipping, and then I realize, whoa, I'm blocked here. What's going on? And I'll realize I haven't asked. I haven't asked someone. And so I will start to ask, and all of a sudden things start to clear. And I feel like I have gone to the Red Sea and things are starting to just part for me because all of a sudden things just start opening up just simply because I've asked. And it's amazing how that happens. And it happens all the time for me just when I start to ask. Both people will just magically come into my existence, or other things will occur. I've found all kinds of beautiful people just simply by asking, or my guides, um, or asking the right people, hey, do you know something, or can you assist me with something? And I've also learned, before I ever even started any of this, for a long time, I was in an MLM for like 15 years. And one of the things that they taught me was they did say to ask. And they would say, do you mind going and asking someone for a piece of gum?
Mm.
You say no. Well, if they say no, does it bother you? No, it doesn't. So why does it bother you if someone tells you no for something else? It shouldn't, So I started to let that go. It's not necessarily a personal thing. They're just not in the right, we're not in the right connection space, whatever. They might be busy right then. There might be a whole lot of different situations going on in their situation, and I can respect that. So if we don't take offense to something simple like that, why are we taking offense to other things? So I just kind of, when I ask them for things like, would you like to do something? And they say no, I let it go, just like I would let it go when I'm asking them if they would like a piece of gum.
Right. I think it's our fear of rejection. For me, it was no, I don't want to be rejected. Even in sales, when you're selling and you're afraid to go and sell because you don't want them to reject you. But the thing is,
Yes,
if you don't ask, the answer is no. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. So it's better you ask so that if the person says no, at least you ask. So I go everywhere with that in my mind.
exactly. And it was through, I eventually I left there and I went to other things, but it was that mentality that kept me going. And it was doing that stuff that led me to being able to pay for my education to get me to here. So, it's consistency and perseverance sometimes, and asking, and sometimes being okay with hearing no, because so many no's lead you to a yes. And sometimes they would teach me, okay, look for so many no's because then you're going to get your yes. So it's just ways of looking at it.
And like you mentioned earlier about vibration, right? So as you go through those rejections and being uncomfortable, the resistance level disappears. And eventually your vibration increases to a point where you don't even have to ask, and things just start showing up, you know. And I'm going to give a stupid example. This was in high school. I remember, I telling a girl I like her, and this kept on going, but I kept getting rejected. And then one fine day, I have two girls in my hands, and I have to make a choice
Yeah.
without even working so hard for it. So, once you get to that point, you never know what you can achieve. I can see Grace is like, what an example is that, Yogesh? uh,
No, yeah, honestly, and it's a real thing, right? It has happened to me time and time again. Like when you're struggling to get one thing and it's looking really hard to get that thing, but you are keeping faith alive and you're doing what you're supposed to do, it gets to a point where you'd have so many options. You're looking, for which one to pick, right? Because it has happened. I think there was a time it happened, with a job, with some level of work that I needed to do. It was hard for me to start it. I wanted to. Sending proposals and getting people to pitch me. But after a while, it was now so difficult for me because I had too many, and I was like, I don't think I can do all of this. Even sometimes I was struggling, like, we need it, we need this, we need this. And the universe would be like, okay, do you have the capacity? Are you sure you have the capacity? So this is why even what we're doing right now, I love it because it will get to a point where we would need to come out daily to do this. So if we're not able to build the capacity, so everything I've written it in articles, and I even saw something amazing this morning that an organization has just discovered how to make fuel out of our pool. I always say that nothing goes to waste. For a jet plane, our pool has become something that is going to be fueling the jets. Can you beat
That's
that? I saw that.
wonderful.
Wonderful, right? So
Yes,
what I always say is I I don't think anything I do right now is not accumulating, for us to use later in the future. And I'll tell you what, I started a book club with some children, and then I get to meet them. Guess what? I got 4 referrals, just a parent telling another parent that, look, there's this book club, it's virtual, and then there's another. But when I started, I was like, okay, let me just do it. Now I'm looking for more energy to be able to keep up with all the kids coming in, right? So I always say that,
beautiful.
look, it's so beautiful. The problem is to start. And then when you start, the most difficult thing in entrepreneurship or doing things that you're very passionate about is there are times you'll be frustrated. And I don't know why I'm saying this. I think that I think I just received the energy or something to say this. I don't think it's part of what we're talking about, but I
That's
think we
okay.
need it because I think we need it because it is going to help us understand that sometimes, even though when we ask and it's looking like it isn't coming, it's not that it isn't going to come. We just need to keep building the capacity to be able to help us, stay consistent when the need arises and when the time comes. When I was studying physics, okay, I'm going to wrap up with this. I get excited when I'm talking about certain things, and this is one of the things that I'm excited about. When I was studying physics, to be very frank with you, because I wanted to study medicine and I didn't get medicine, I was studying physics. I just said to myself, I'm just going to study this thing and just get out of here and do something else and all of that. But believe you me, coaching that I'm doing now and some of the things that I apply with my coaching has got a lot to do with my foundation as a physicist. Can you beat that? It might even be the small thing you did in 1 month or in 2 months at some point that didn't make sense to you when you were doing it. And then you find yourself in the future doing something that will remind you that, look, this skill that you're doing now, what you're doing now, was as a result of the skill you got so many years ago. So I'm very happy that we do this every. Sometimes it might not be easy. We come here and talk about this thing, and we're not seeing people engaging. Look, this is to you watching this. Send this video to someone to watch it so that they can start opening their mindset to abundance. And this is to somebody watching this. And right under this, that you are watching a replay. Okay, that's okay. I'm quiet.
Go ahead, Christina.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I always see it as little puzzle pieces because there's so many times now the more aware I become that I see all these parts of my life in the past that I didn't understand why I was doing it or what I was doing at the time, all kind of putting their there are all these different skills that I've gone through, or jobs I've had, or um, classes I've gone through and learned things. They're all kind of coming together now. And it's like, wow, thank you. I'm so appreciative of all of that because it's all coming in like little puzzle pieces explaining exactly why we all it was like source knew so much better, of course, to put us into all these beautiful situations, to eh, to go through these experiences and to learn all these things because they all come together. They all come together to make such a beautiful tapestry of our life. And so then we can show and explain things in such a beautiful way to other people and have so many more things to bring forward to them. It's so much more, it comes in so much more profound as we put it all together. But at the time, it's like, why would I be doing that? I mean, there's been a lot of things, I didn't understand why I was a pharmacy technician or, doing
You
different.
were?
Oh,
Ah!
yeah, I was a pharmacy technician for,
Oh, interesting.
I didn't understand why I did traditional medicine for several years before I ever broke my neck. And I didn't understand, and so doing different types of working in that industry and then going and and then I spent several years um, thinking my life was over because I had broken my neck. And so I spent time at home thinking, because the doctors had said you can't do all the things I had done in the past, and I'm thinking, well, now I can't do anything. But that was wrong. I had limited my beliefs, and I had to wake up my consciousness to realize they were all, I just had to change my mindset, my way of thinking, and I wasn't going to do anything traditional when I did do something.
Well, it all adds up, like you said. And what Grace also you were saying earlier about capacity, right? Which brings me back to our topic of today is manifesting blocks. Is when you release those blocks, you have the capacity to receive and manifest. It's just like a jar, right? If the jar is full, you can't receive any more, but as soon as you let go of something, you have more and more capacity, and that's when you start receiving even more because there's no more blockage. So I think everything just adds up. And like you said, Grace and Christina, right, whatever you did in the past, somewhere down the line it just makes sense much later. Like I always think about my life. I wanted to move to Indonesia in 1998. That never happened. Then I wanted to move to China before that in 1997. That didn't happen. And then I suddenly moved to Dubai, came back to Hong Kong. And then after that, I started, I changed my career. I got into coaching, and that took me to Indonesia, And then the whole COVID happened. And after that, because of that, because I met my friend in Indonesia, He had a friend who offered me to come to China. So what had to happen happened eventually. It didn't happen. I wanted to, but maybe that time I wasn't ready or I didn't have the capacity for it. So again, the dream is to be in Canada. And I was just telling Christina before we started this live was today I took my friend to buy a suitcase. And it so happens there are these two guys standing there and they're speaking in English. And I'm telling them you can bargain with her, she'll give you cheaper, the shopkeeper. And it's funny, I'm like, so he's like, what do you do? I say, oh, we sell all these dollar store products to Europe, like to care for and everything. And he was like, oh, I do the same in Canada. And he was like a broker and he's like, give me your name card. And we were like talking and conversing. So I was like, wow, what are the chances that I'm taking my friend to buy a suitcase and I pop into that store where this guy is there from Canada who also does the similar business, right? So I guess my capacity is
It's
increasing by the
getting
day.
there. Yes, it's getting there.
Yeah.
I love it.
And you just never know. You're, just being in the right place, asking, there's a lot of different things. Believing, you know,
Communicating. I mean, if I
How
didn't
did
talk
I
to the guy,
how did I meet how did I meet all of you? It was me building my capacity in coaching, and I decided to, you know, pay to become to pay to belong to a community that would allow me to hone my skills. And there I was training and I met my co-trainer, who is Yogesh Kapoor, and we've been friends for 4 years now. This is the fourth year. I
yep,
mean, all these things make sense when you put all these things. You have to make a move for the next move to come to play. If I was just
yeah,
sitting down and
exactly.
it was about the time when I was going to resign from my 9 to 5. I just resigned and I didn't wallow in self because it was in the heat of COVID. I was afraid that everybody said, "Are you crazy? People are losing their jobs and you want to resign?" I said, "Yes, I'm I need to leave, right?" And then I left and I decided to come online to see what my coaching at the time. I'd gotten my coaching certification. I was already doing coaching and everything. And then I said, okay, and I met people, and from the people I met, I got into another space, and from another space, I mean, we've been working together, we've been even communicating and learning together and building together. It's been an amazing journey and I love it. I love it.
yeah, you guys were my coaches for in BU, and that was amazing. I mean, I really got a lot out of that. My first certification, well, my first coaching certification there, and then we were doing quantum weekly there, and then when that ended, then we started. I asked you guys to join me with Ultimate Retreats, but Ultimate Retreats is now celebrating our third anniversary this year.
Wow.
Woohoo!
Yes.
Amazing.
And so, yeah, I'm excited because we're going to have our third spring retreat. I realized
In
this.
Jamaica,
Awesome.
Yeah,
right?
this. So it's exciting, amazing how time has gone because it was not that long ago. It feels that I just met you, So yeah,
And like you said, we were your coaches, and today we are doing the revamped course, and you are the coach in the revamped course. So what leads to what, you never know.
you really
And
don't.
yeah, and I mean, you are doing what you're doing because of you took action. You already had what you were doing, but you had to take it enough a step higher. You knew what you knew, and you came, did another coaching course to help you meet people and understand things from other perspectives. And admired you ever since because you have been on fire. You have been on fire. I can tell that without a doubt because I remember the Christina that we were talking together when we were in class back then is certainly a different Christina I see now, right? Because you have been so consistent in your work and you've been putting out these retreats don't come easy. These things that you do, bringing women together, going from countries to countries. I mean, you're doing good. And
Thank you.
yes,
Thank you. I'm looking forward to connecting and getting together with you because I know that there's going to be a time where we're going to come over and visit you. You know, if you
absolutely.
don't come my way, I'm coming your way.
Definitely, we got to do it. You either come
Yes,
first
And
or I come first.
you
yes.
know the most interesting part? None of us has ever met like physically. We've all met
Yeah.
online. We've never met in person. So
Uh,
2024 is the year. I know we're all going to catch up. We're all going to meet, and it's going to be fun for
I know
sure.
it.
yeah,
We have a
definitely.
retreat for Africa. We have a retreat for Bali. So,
Yes, it's
When
coming.
when is the Bali one? When is the Bali one? So let me see. I'm definitely traveling this year, but I don't know which country yet. I'm thinking of Singapore. I don't know. I am I have to be very clear so that the universe doesn't say, "Hey Gracie, which one? Let's make it work." So
Yes,
well,
I'll put it out there.
why limit it? Because Singapore is just an hour and a half away from Indonesia.
Woo! Wow,
well, maybe
interesting.
we need to put a vote in the group, see which ones they're most interested in, Bali or Africa.
Oh, okay.
Both.
Yeah,
I'm not
because
limiting
I'm
myself.
yeah, I was gonna
I'm
say
not
because
limiting
I'm really
myself this
interested in
year.
both. I really truly am. So
And I was looking at my vision board from 2021 and I saw Arizona and I was like, oh, right, that is yet to happen as well. So I'm going to
yeah,
aim for all three this year.
yeah, it would be nice to get back to Arizona again. Arizona is a beautiful state to visit. So, you know,
And then we can start by remember we have an online retreat with all
we
this.
do.
Can you remember we have an online retreat? And I remember we did one in 2020 during COVID or 2021. We had an
20, I
online
think it's
retreat.
2022.
2022, May.
2022.
2022, yeah. So I think we are going to be doing something like that again. Yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. In January, we have another, and you know how energy works. It's only different. I mean, look at the connection we have. We've never met, and it's almost the same thing, even though it's different when you are physically around. But the energy, the feeling, what you're going to get, the output at the end of the day is definitely going to be there. So I'm looking forward to our retreat coming up on the 22nd in January. So yes, what do you have to say about that?
I'm very excited about it. I think it's going to be really fun. It's going to be a little bit, it's going to be very educational, but it's also going to be really fun and interactive. We're going to have
Yep.
some, because all retreats we like to, bring some education, but we're also going to have some interactive spots here, to keep you doing stuff and really
For
feeling like you're
talent,
part of it.
games, and
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, and chances to win a few things and be part of things. So I'm excited about it. It's fun. I'm excited about doing this one. So how about you, Yogesh?
Well, I'm super excited because I haven't done an online event for a very long time. I think the last one we did was in 2022.
Yeah.
After that, I haven't done anything online because I was so focused on my work in China. But I look forward to coming back even stronger because I have more ideas of what I want to do online for the next couple of retreats, and especially this one. I'm looking forward because I'm going to be talking about how do you talk to your subconscious mind. And that's
Ooh.
part of how you manifest things, right? And get rid of those blockages because, like Grace said earlier, you have that doubt or that worry. So I got to reprogram that so you don't really have those doubts and worries. So I'm super excited. I was it 22nd January or was it 20 to 21? I can't recall the
20,
dates.
I think 2021st, 20 and 21st.
21st to
So it's,
20 to
22nd. Yeah, 2
let me
days.
check.
Okay,
Two
we'll
days.
get the dates right.
Yeah, I was gonna say
But
I was gonna check real quick.
It's 21, 22. 2 days. It's a 2-day retreat.
I think it depends on what side of the world you're on too.
Oh, okay.
That's probably
correct.
why we're
For me,
getting
it's
it.
21, 22, probably.
Yeah, that's probably why we're confusing people because we're in different parts of the world. Because for me, it's 21 or 20th, 21st.
Yeah, so for me, it will be 21, 22. I guess,
Yeah.
Grace, you're a few hours behind me. So for you too is 2021.
No, it's 2021st. 2021st then because would have to now align to a date. So it's 2021st.
Well,
2021st.
yeah, because it's a Saturday, Sunday, but it depends on whatever dates you're looking, you know,
Yeah.
you're seeing it at.
Perfect.
Yeah. But we will be putting you'll see it on all of our pages so you can click on the link and stuff by probably tomorrow, the
Yep.
latest.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, ladies, it was amazing starting off the new year talking about this. I can see the energy levels were really high today. We're all excited for 2024. We went on for almost an hour. So I guess we were just waiting to speak, weren't we? Uh,
Mm.
After the 2 week break. So, any few words before we go, Grace?
This year is going to be full of goodies. Goodies, goodies, goodies. I can feel it. So
Great.
that's what I'm going to end with.
And Christina?
No, I'm just very excited about how the year is starting off, and I know it's going to be a really wonderful year.
Awesome.
So
So,
I
guys, it's 2024. Numerologically, it's a number 8. That means infinite abundance. Whatever you intend for this year, think positive, work hard for it, stay disciplined, have self love, and I promise you, 2024 will be your year. Don't forget, we have an online retreat on the 20th and 21st. Christina, you will
I put
add the
the
link.
yeah, I put the website in, and I'm going to put the direct link in as soon as we're done. So
Okay,
I'll add that
awesome.
in as well.
Awesome. And those of you that heard some of our tips on clearing your abundance blocks, your manifesting blocks, do watch the replay if you missed it. Hashtag replay, take notes, try it out. Let us know what you thought. If you enjoyed the podcast, leave us some comments. If you like to be coached by one of us, reach out to us. And we look forward to seeing you next Sunday again on our next Ultimate Live. Thank you, Grace, for gracing us today. And thank you, Christina, for shining your light. I will see you two ladies next Sunday.
I saw
Bye
what you
bye,
did
everyone.
there.
Huh?
Bye. That's